What's up, Lifetime family? Personal trainer Zinni.
Personal trainer Ali. See what time it is? Time for another Fitness Tip Friday.
In today's episode, we're going to be covering the dumbbell row. Now, before we cover the dumbbell row, we're going to go over a few common mistakes that we often see here around the club. Keep in mind, we're covering a lot of rowing variations. The techniques that we're going to be covering can apply to barbell rows, cable rows. We're just going to use the dumbbell row because it's easy and it's convenient. One of the common mistakes you often see here is when people set up in this hunched and rounded position. We're already stuck in this flexed spinal pattern because we sit at desk all day, we text, we play video games. So ideally, we're training ourselves out of this position, not reinforcing this position. Another common mistake we often see is when people are just too arm dominant. They're rowing pretty much with their arm, and as you know from our videos, we're putting emphasis on the entire body, drawing the connection from our mind to our body, getting all of our motor units ideally to fire. Here, he's just pulling pretty much with his arm, and he's also getting what's called anterior humeral glide syndrome, or the head of his humerus will scrape against the front of his shoulder and really get ropey and nasty against all that soft tissue in the front of the shoulder. Another common mistake we often see here is when people tend to use momentum to make this lift happen. They're just twisting and rotating at the spine, again with no conceptual thought to what they're doing with this movement. So now we're going to show how the dumbbell row or any rowing variation is ideally performed. Before we actually show the execution of the lift, we're going to kind of show the setup from an anterior or a front view. So ideally when you're setting up or whatever you're doing, you're keeping in mind, again, total body mechanics. Ali's setting up with a solid shoulder position here. He almost has a rod going from his wrist to his shoulder. He's firm and he's steady, really engaging this opposite side arm. His core is tight. His spine is straight and elongated, and he's focused on the deep, forceful breaths that really engage and activate his total core. Okay? So as we move into the execution of this movement, he's got the same setup, nice elongated spine, his chin is double chinned, engaging those deep neck flexors. Now, when he moves, the initial movement begins with the scapula. He pulls with the scapula, clearing space for that arm to follow. He's leaving about 30 to 45 degrees for that scapula to move between his side here. So I can fit my hand between his arm and the side of his torso. So he's allowing that scapula to travel. So to recap, some of the don'ts for the dumbbell row: we don't want to hunch over when we're setting up. We don't want to be arm dominant with our movement, and again, have this humeral head or this arm bone protruding forward. We don't want to rotate and use momentum to execute the movement. What we do want to do is we want to set up solid, make sure everything is turned on and in a nice position. We want to pull with the scapula first, clearing space for that arm to travel, and again, not pulling it too far back, contributing to that humeral head gliding forward and contributing to shoulder impingement issues. We want to leave 30 to 45 degrees between our arm and our torso, allowing for that scapula to move freely along the rib cage. There you have it, folks. Seems like an easy setup, but as you can see, there's a lot more to the technical execution of this exercise. Hopefully you follow us on Facebook, like us on YouTube, subscribe. We'll be putting out videos every week. Tune in next week.
Thank you guys again. Keep it up. Again, if you have any questions, let us know. The New Year's are coming up. Thanksgiving's coming up. Try your best, enjoy, but don't fall off the wagon too much. Again, you need anything, let us know. Zinni, any other trainer. AZPV out.